Hi guys, my final project is helping non-art majors in painting class be able to appreciate painting as professionals. The problem I noticed as a non-art major student myself who took painting class as elective course is that they are usually not be able to articulate their appreciation about paintings by using professional terminologies as theoretical basis. Through the whole semester, we've been thinking about how social media can be a very powerful tool to enhance teaching and learning practice in traditional settings. So, in my design, using social media combines online and offline learning practice together. It's a supplementary tool trying to support better practice in classroom but not dominate over the traditional classroom teaching. And also, it involves both teachers and students, not just an additional after class task for students only. The first reason I use Instagram is that it's so prevalent with college students that most of them are proficient in it. Secondly, the visual effect of showing artistic pictures is very suitable for an art course like painting. And lastly, the hashtag feature, which works very importantly in my design, and I'll explain it later in my frame design. So based on the frame, a space of learning for the use of design video from Schwartz and Hartman's article, I would like to firstly make my problem solving design clearer and more detailed. My big outcome is helping students articulate their appreciation about specific paintings by using professional terminologies as theoretical basis. My big target is make them be able to explain why and how a specific painting fit into each painting categories. For example, why it is impressionism, why it is parallel composition, how lights and shadows work. The big assessment is whether they explain their painting appreciation by referring to inferences. To achieve the final outcome, say, there are two other outcomes to achieve in the chaining method. Firstly, students need to be actively engaged with teachers and peers during classroom introduction and discussion about appreciating paintings. They should be willing to exchange opinions with peers and raise questions to teachers and catch up with where the teacher is leading to. And once students are willing and be able to engage in classroom teaching and discussion, they will be they will be need to be able to see different painting by professional criteria before they really to say. So for outcome engage, the target is to be able to contextualize those terms and concepts about painting appreciation. They need to make sense of how they can be applied when looking at a painting, how such knowledge is meaningful and helpful for their painting study and their general artistic sense. And here is the design activity by using Instagram. Step 1. Teacher will post before class a painting picture and a text introducing what professional concept they're going to learn this week. For example, a Monet's painting Sunrise, hashtags of the class title MSTU4141, and the terminology they're going to learn, like Impressionism and Light and Shadow hashtag, which is related knowledge. And step 2, students will respond to teacher's post by, of course, looking at a painting and thinking about relations with the text below. If they don't quite get the idea of a new concept like Impressionism, they can click on the hashtag and it will lead to other similar posts with Impressionism hashtags on Instagram. So they can have more references to help them to understand, and they may learn Impressionism from others' posts about Posezon. And also, among another painting woman, a painting woman with a parasol from others' posts. And we can assess contextualization by watching students' performance in further learning, whether students already have prior knowledge that can benefit them in classroom learning, whether they can use such terminology to discuss with teachers, raise questions. For example, if one can ask questions, how Monet make use of colors to change light and shadow to represent different times of one day in Rouen Cathedral series. And once students achieve the engaged target, they need to be able to see difference between paintings using the professional criteria and terminologies. The target of outcome C is to discern differences according to the professional technology, a terminology. The activity using Instagram works like this. Students make a post of their own paintings and give it definitions based on concepts they learned. For example, the pose in the picture is one's own painting and its referring style Cubanism pushed in the hashtag. They'll also need to write down how they discern a specific characteristic of their own paintings and refer to the professional terminology. To assess discern, we need to see whether students will be able to notice the typical features and characteristics of a specific painting that differentiate it from other paintings and fit it into categories. Specifically, a student can tell how the lights and shadows are different in Monet's Rouen Cathedral series. To finally assess our final target explain, we need to see whether students can draw inferences when appreciating paintings. For example, students are able to appreciate an impressionistic painting by drawing the reference of Claude Monet's Impressionism sunrise. Therefore, they finally achieve the outcome of being able to articulate their appreciation about paintings by using professional terminologies as theoretical basis. The theoretical inspiration for my overall frame design comes from the idea of epistemic fluency, which can be achieved by specific tasks as describing, explaining, predicting, arguing, critiquing, evaluating, explicating, and defining. I think the essentials of my problem is about students' abilities of critiquing, describing, and so on in arts field, which is all based on the epistemic fluency. And the theories that support my Instagram activities design are two. The first one is generative learning community. Finishing tasks and interacting on Instagram is like creating a generative learning community. It increases the degree of engagement and expand knowledge both individually and collectively. And second one is to form a sense of community. The sense of trust, belonging, closeness created by Instagram interaction can help increase students' confidence and interest to keep learning hard even though they're not professionals. The frame design has its own strengths as well as weaknesses. It's generative since Instagram activity gives students autonomy to explore and solve their questions on their own. It creates community and it's task specific, which makes learning more efficient. I can also see from my design that it may be time consuming. Also, exploring Instagram posts can be distractive for the specific learning goal. Since the midterm project, I've learned the importance and necessity to break down the learning problem before you started to designing methods to solve it. How you deeply understand the objective and targets, the ways to achieve final outcome, how you take steps one by one are essential for the success of your design. Therefore, compared with this two design frame, I think my final one are more specific and logic.